Guys, are we live? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I got interrupted the last stream. I don't know what happened. But listen, links in the chat room. We're just going to pick up from where we left off. Again, I apologize about the disruption. I don't know what happened. But if you want to call in, go ahead and click that link and call back in. I'm trying to figure out why people get so triggered by Kevin Samuels, even in death. But that's another show. But guys, if you want to call in, click the link. Go ahead and call in. No need to do an intro. Oh, I'm fine, Frenchie. I'm fine, Frenchie. You know, I'm good. I'm good, Frenchie. Dynasty Mirror gonna be okay. Dynasty Mirror is gonna be okay, y'all. It's gonna be okay. But Last Zulu, I know you said you wanted to call in, so links in the chat room. Go ahead and call in. You're more than welcome to add to the convo. Like I said, I'm not sure what happened, but something happened. But you know, we're back. We're here, and if you want to call in, you know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't received any kind of notices at all. So I'm not sure. But we live now. We are live now. Here we go, Kenny King. Go ahead, Kenny. 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 Our link is in the chat room. If you want to call in, you're more than welcome to call in. Hello. Afri, go ahead.
Hey guys. So I don't know what happened, but I think if we're going to refer to that guy who I brought up or who somebody else brought up, let's just play it safe and not say his name. Let's just call him KS.
No, Afri, listen.
I don't know what happened. I'm just trying to
No, but no. We saying Kevin's name. We saying Kevin Samuel's name.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. No, we don't.
But
no.
I mean, I do have. Well, for one, I do have like a 15-minute clip of him talking in that same soundbite. But before I get to that, let me talk about the actual topic. So as far as like my whole thing is whoever you date, like if the only thing you should be concerned about is the culture. Like, if you are a Black person, do you want to continue your legacy with other Black people? It doesn't matter if they're Liberian, Nigerian, West African, East African, South African, or whatever. If you are concerned about, this lady who wants to date a Nigerian guy, I mean, don't be, just let women date whoever they want to date.
Oh, listen, I support her. I'm in full support of her. In fact, I'm trying to help her.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, and I am too. I guess my stance is hey, I mean, love is love, right? So, I'm just saying that if you want to pass down wealth, you might want to be choosy just a little bit.
All right. We appreciate you. No problem. We appreciate you, sister. Thank you. Go ahead, gas them up.
Dennis, can I say something?
Oh, go ahead, Kenny. Your connection was acting up, so go ahead, Kenny.
Okay. First things first. Thank you for letting me on. I'm just gonna leave a little question for the ladies. Why is it that you all have this negative energy towards Kevin Samuels, but you don't have the same energy towards Cynthia G? That's just my question.
Listen, so
not necessarily. I don't. So I guess that question was for me. I don't. I actually think Cynthia G is actually extreme, and I don't condone everything she says. Just like Cynthia G, just like Kevin Samuels, there are some things that Kevin Samuels said say that is true, and there are some things that Cynthia G says that is true. I just don't believe in what I call cutting your nose to spite your face, which is what Black people, men and women, do. Like when we talk about each other like that, it's kind of embarrassing. Honestly, it's kind of embarrassing. So when I speak on Kevin Samuels, I'm like,
No, it's
you
not.
know,
Sorry to cut you short. It's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. Let me correct you. You know, I'm Nigerian. I have been studying a lot about African Americans, and the men complaining is exactly. I live in Europe. Exactly the same thing the men are complaining over there. That's what I'm complaining. That's what we are complaining about African women over here in Europe. It's exactly the same. This mindset of they're trying to pay you back. They have this mindset of trying to keep the black man under their foot and step on him. It's not just. I'm not talking about just you guys over there. I live here in Europe. I was basically almost born in Europe, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. Majority of the men here, the majority of the women here are single mothers, and they are single mothers by choice because of they want welfare, because they want to be greedy. They disregard family and take the welfare over the father of children. So majority of what Kevin Samuel is talking about is not just talking about you guys over there. It's talking about us over here too. So I see no reasons why the black women they've been this feminism thing that you guys are talking about is ruining Africa if you guys don't know. Is ruining Africa if you guys don't know. The bad attitude that majority of African American women are portraying, a lot of African women have started to copy it. That is why when you come to Europe, you see a lot of single mothers because African men do not tolerate that kind of nonsense attitude. Because African American women have totally, totally, in fact, they have no respect for the men. And we see it on a daily basis. If you don't have social media, then you don't know what's going on. We see it on a daily basis. They have no regard for the men. And African women copy what you guys do, just like African men copy what you guys do.
I'm Liberian, by the way.
No, totally no regard for the black man. Totally no regard. That is why a lot of African men go
Can
on
I
and
ask you
get
a
married
question?
and
How
live.
does one become
Yeah.
a single mother by choice? How
You
does
said
one
what?
become a single mother? How does a woman
They
become a
be,
single mother by choice?
I'll tell you how they become a single mother by choice. They choose welfare over family. There are men that are willing to work and take care of their families, take care of the kids, take care of their families. Majority of the women they go up to the extent of giving birth to different children for different men. I see it here. I see it here in the UK. They go to the extent of giving birth to three different men from different children from different men, all because they want to gain welfare. And these children are growing up without fathers. At the
Okay,
end
so
of the day, what do you expect?
a woman choose welfare over father? How does that process work?
That's what I'm telling
Hold
you.
on, hold on, hold on. You know what? Hold on. We got Professor Lumumba
What
here. Gas him up.
I
Hold
can
on, gas him up.
respond.
No, gas him up. Hold on, hold on. We got Professor Lumumba. After I think Professor Lumumba is, he's more qualified. He's not saying Kenny's not qualified. Let Professor Lumumba break it down. Go ahead, Professor Lumumba.
I appreciate you, Brother Dynas. Appreciate the panel. Could you repeat the question again?
I said, the black women or the black woman, especially overseas, they chose welfare over family.
No, I thought the question
Over the
was
well-being of their kids.
how does a woman choose to be a single mother? Was that the question
I'll
that
tell you.
Afri asked?
Do you want me to answer the
Yes,
question?
that is the
No,
question
Kenny,
I asked.
he's asking Afri. Kenny, he's asking Afri.
Yes. So
You say
I'm
what?
curious to know, how does a woman
How does a woman?
choose?
I'll tell you.
Give me a moment, please,
Well,
Kenny.
Kenny, I think Dynas wants
Afri.
Lumumba, Dr. Lumumba, Professor Lumumba to answer the question.
Kenny, let
All right.
Afri ask the question and let Dr. Lumumba answer.
Okay.
So let me just put this down. It takes a man and a woman to have a child, right? And traditionally speaking, when a man and a woman has a child, it is the mother responsibility. That child is the mother's responsibility, and it's also the father's responsibility to take care of that child.
That's
So
false. That's not
please
African.
listen,
That's
guys. I
false.
don't do this thing. Listen, excuse me. I don't do this thing where you can just interrupt while I'm talking. I would appreciate, because I don't interrupt when you guys talk. And if I have, I will from this point on, I will make it a point not to.
After one second, Kenny and Gassima, please don't interrupt. I just want this exchange to be between Afri and Lumumba, because Lumumba, I want him to answer because he'll be more centered and Go ahead, Afri. Ask your question.
So with that, the fact that we know that it takes two to make a child, how does a woman, choose to be a single mother? Thank you.
I appreciate the question. I appreciate everyone on the panel. I appreciate you, Brother Dynast, for having me back on. I just want to say I'm not a doctor yet. That will be this time next year. So after I defend my dissertation. So we can speak it into existence, but I don't want to misrepresent who I am right at this time. So I think this is a great point. So the reason why I think people make this statement or make the argument that women choose to be single mothers, I think it's twofold. One, because many modern women, I'm used to talking modern women, are choosing to have children willingly, knowingly, and pervasively outside of wedlock. Right? Typically, as we know, in any society, you get married, there's a guarantee of having a family. And so we know the primary purpose of having a family is for financial stability, social support, affectional relations, so on and so forth. So that's one reason why, because many women today in modern society are choosing to willingly have children out of wedlock. I could say this, and this is even anecdotal, but in the past 3 years, I've had 7 women approach me. 7, keyword is 7 women approach me, asking me to simply have a child with them.
Let me interject. I've had like 5, and after here you go. I was going to bring that up. Sorry to cut you off. I've literally had 5 women approach me, basically wanted me to be a sperm donor. I swear to God, and they were specific. I don't want you involved. I don't want you involved. You ain't got to come around. Don't want you involved.
Just want you to get on pregnant.
I just want your DNA. I'm not exaggerating. Go ahead, Louis.
Yeah, and like I said, so I've had this happen 7 times in the past 3 years. Of course, I said no, absolutely not. I said HE double hockey sticks, no, right? But the other issue to that is we know that 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So what we do know is that when there is a family structure, 80% of the time, unfortunately, when the family is dissolved and the marriage ends, it's the woman who's walking away, not the man. So I think that would speak to why many people argue that nowadays there are women who are choosing to be single mothers.
Afri, to answer your question.
No, not really. I'm a little confused actually. So you're saying that because women initiate, number one, you said that because of the few women that approached you and Dynast asked for you to be sperm donors, excuse me, that means that majority of the women in America are choosing to be single women. So number two, the reason why women are choosing to be single mothers is because you mentioned that we initiate divorce, and so that's another reason why we're choosing to be single mothers, because we are the ones who are initiating divorce. So my whole thing is like, you know what parenting is, right?
Yes, I do. So let me ask you a question. One, I never stated that the majority of women are choosing and willingly asking men to just be sperm donors. I never said that. I'm simply stating that this is something that happens, and that women that choose to do those things are individuals who are willingly choosing to be single mothers. I never said it was a majority. I'm simply stating this is something that is taking place in modern society.
So are most Black women choosing to be single mothers?
I would argue that most Black women... Can I respond? I'm going to answer a question. I would argue that most Black women, I hate to speak in these type of monolithic terms, but we are living in a modern society, and I would argue that most Black women choose to have children willingly have children outside of wedlock.
Most Black women are choosing to have children out of wedlock.
Yes, ma'am. Just like the majority of women in American society as a whole.
So, okay, go ahead.
I just want to quickly point out something, and this is for the men in the panel and the men on the broadcast. It's just my opinion. I'm tired of men coming on here, and I'm not saying you guys personally. I'm just tired of men. Who cares what women think? Why do y'all care? If these women, right? The truth of the matter is, it's like nobody wants to say the emperor has no clothes. The modern woman today does not need a man. She has the state. And that's just what it is. She has the state at her disposal. And having the state at her disposal means that you're not needed. You're not necessary. Other than sperm. Now, she can go to a sperm bank. But the truth of the matter is, some women, look at a guy like Dynast. He's a former athlete. He has good genetics. My friend, Professor Lumumba, almost professor, is going to be there. I know that dissertation is going to be rocking. He has good genetics. He's a PhD. Bang, we need the DNA. My friend Kenny over there. So this is the game. So for me, I'm just saying, modern men, stop stressing yourself, man. Like, I don't know why. It's like they're going on this circle. Okay, well, look at me. I'm hardworking. I have all this money. Why won't you submit to me? Why won't you listen to me? No, who cares what she thinks? And it's like we're these little boys caught up with this. Always we start when we're young. We have to please our mothers, which is cool. We have to please our aunties, please our grandmas. But then we make the mistake of juxtaposing that pleasing our mothers, our aunties, and our grandmas, and the women who share actual blood genetic with us, and try to please women who have nothing to do with you. If she's not willing to put in the work for you, and yes, she should be choosing you. She should be putting in the work for you. If she's not willing to do that, let her kick rocks. I don't care how fine she is, but the problem is I think guys are just sitting down there trying to kill themselves for women that aren't going to kill themselves for you. I don't know. That's just my opinion,
When we're in a relationship and it's between, this is a heterosexual relationship. A woman can't choose to be a single mother. You know what decides? You know who makes that decision? The father.
The father, right?
The father walks away, and then she's a single mother. You cannot.
We agree.
Can I say something?
Right.
Kenny, can I just ask you this question? Why are you arguing with her? You're not going to convince this lady. Afri is a belief. She says she's Liberian, if I'm not mistaken. You ain't going to convince her. She sounds like she was raised in America, or she came here a little young. I'm not judging you. I don't know you. I don't do the armchair psychology. You're not going to convince Afri. Afri believes it's the man's fault and that men are to blame. Great. Let her continue. Listen, black men, no disrespect to you, Afri. I don't know you personally. When you hear women like this, cross the street. Let her find the guy that's going to satisfy her. Don't waste your energy. You can't fix them. Don't waste the energy. I wish Afri the best, and I really mean it. I don't know you personally, diss you. I wish you all the money in the world, all the health, everything. But cross the street. Y'all got to learn to divest from these bad women that aren't going to satisfy your purpose. If she ain't going to satisfy your purpose, why are you wasting your time? You can't fix her. Let Afri do what she want to do, and
I agree with you there. I've told my son the same thing. I said, if you meet a woman or a young lady, because he's about to be 15, maybe 2
Are y'all
going
gonna address my point? Like, how does a woman make a? I'm just curious. How does a woman?
We can't address your point because you're right.
We addressed it.
I did address it. A woman can decide. There are women every day who decide to leave a relationship after they have a child. It's not 100% in which it's the man who's in the woman's the child. Then we can move on and have a conversation about something else. We're trying to be rooted in reality here, right? There are times when men leave the relationship and the woman's a single mother. There are times when the woman leaves the relationship. For example, my older brother, he raised his son from the age of 2 all the way up into adulthood by himself because his former wife literally left the relationship. She left and they never heard of her from her again. Actually do happen. To sit here and have a conversation act like it doesn't happen is extremely problematic, and it's is it gas them up, but to gas them up, who talks about this concept of sometimes women viewing themselves as perpetual victims. And the world doesn't make sense to them, but everyone doing in some way, shape, or form. There has to be some nefarious agent now.
Brother
World doesn't make sense to them.
your connection's going in and out now. I really want to hear this. Your connection's going in and out.
Yeah, I thought it was mine.
I apologize. Can you hear me better now?
That's better. Go ahead, Lamuba. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
No,
So
let
what I was
Lamuba
stating
finish.
was, unfortunately, we have some individuals in society who they view themselves as perpetual victims, meaning the world doesn't make sense to them, but that someone is doing them wrong, in which someone is doing them harm, in which there's some individual in the bushes that has some type of nefarious intent towards them. So as I told my son and I tell my daughter, when you meet someone like that, cross the street, because when you meet individuals who have a perpetual victim mindset, facts, data, statistics, reality, none of that matters. In their mind, I'm always the victim and everyone else is always wrong. So when I tell my children, when you meet someone like that, you exit stage left, or as Brother Gassam upset, you cross the street and don't look back.
Okay, what does any of that have to do with women choosing to be single mothers?
Because we can't convince you. Listen, this is what I'm saying. Look,
but you didn't.
It's
but
proof.
the thing is, you're laughing, but it's like you did it. This is the thing. This is the
You're
same thing that
right.
happened
Listen,
on the last live.
you're
Y'all
100% correct.
don't
Look
address
at
the point.
guys. Look at everything they're writing in the chat. They're saying gash them up as women hating. I said
Y'all don't
nothing
address
about
the
women
point.
hating. Because your point, we can't address it. That's like asking us to fix, Nigeria's economy. There's just too many factors. We're not going to kill ourselves trying to fix this problem. Look, if you think that the men are to blame, I agree with you, sister. My whole thing is black women like you. I tell you, get a white guy. Honestly, leave black men alone. Get a white guy. Get somebody else. No, because listen, we can't help you. Black men can't fix your problem. We're bad. We're no good. Our credit is messed up. We're thugs. We're pookies. We're ray-rays. We're just bad. Leave black men alone and get you the white, the Asian, get everybody else and leave us alone. And let's stay with the people and the women that like us. I don't see why y'all come on these spaces still talking to black men, the lecturers. We've read Feminism 101. We've read bell hooks. We've read about intersectionality. We've read all of them. We've read Audre Lorde. We know we're to blame. We've read all these theories. So why y'all still talk to black men? That's the part I'm confused about. Why do y'all still waste your time talking to the men who have failed you guys? Get you the superhero white boys. The superhero white boys saved the day. Leave us alone. That's just I'm confused as to and I don't blame you guys. I blame black men because they keep giving y'all attention. The black sisters who on point, who want to rock with a black man, it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be times you're gonna have to eat peanut butter and jelly for dinner, so the kids can eat chicken and rice. If she's not ready to do that with you, like the brother said, cross the street. It's no fight. You don't, a marriage is not bell hooks page 323. These women are living on, page 323 of some intersectionality thesis. That's what they're living in. They're not living in the real world of come back, Dynasty is sitting down there. He just traveled from this country, put this tour together. He got to make sure the insurance is good, do all this. And now he got to come home, make sure his son eat. And then he going to have some girl come tell him, Dynasty, I feel unappreciated. Come on, man. The man ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? The man ain't got time for that. And if you ain't going to help him, it's okay. Cross the street, get a superhero white boy. I just don't understand.
If I could interject, Brother Gasson, that makes me think of a previous relationship I was in where myself and a young lady, we were living together. And so I'm doing pretty well in my career. And I get up in the morning and I go to work. I'm suited and booted, of course. And she said to me on an intersectionality tip, on a bell hooks tip, on an Audre Lorde tip, you have male privilege because you get to go to work every day. And I said to myself, I said, this relationship is over. Because if me being responsible and providing is problematic, I don't need to be with you. So when I came home, I said, I thought about what you said. We might as well end this now, because I can see that this is going in the wrong direction. Yeah. So like you said, when you talk about individuals who want to live their lives based off of is like Brother Gasson said, you'll be jumping through hoops. Okay, you'll be jumping from team to team like you're LeBron James trying to chase your ring, you know, and you have to just make a decision to say this doesn't work for me.
All right, go ahead, Chrissy. Go. Hold on. Let me pass it to Kenny because Kenny's been waiting, and then we'll pass it to Chrissy, then back to you, Afri. Maybe you can hear a woman's perspective. I think that would help with Chrissy. But go ahead, Kenny. Kenny. All right, I don't know what happened to Kenny. All right, go ahead, Chrissy. Unmute yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. This is an interesting conversation about does a woman choose to become a single mother? Sorry, I have my kids coming. No, that's okay. Never mind. There are some women who do, like I didn't know there was women out there like just saying, you know, hey, give me your jeans. I don't need you. Bop, bop. So yeah, there's that segment. I think they're a small segment. I think it's difficult to say because I think there's a responsibility on both sides. So sorry, my phone. That needs to be had. But as women, I think that we need to have a code of conduct. Do not get pregnant for a man who is not willing to give you his last name. I think that wraps like that clears up a lot of problems because we know nature has it that we carry the life, right? We carry the life. Our bodies get disfigured. We're mothers forever, right? And if the relationship dissolves, 9 times out of 10, you still have the child. You're carrying most of the burden, even if the man is sharing with you. Because as a mother, there are little things that you see that just men just don't. You know, they're little intricacies. They're little, you know, it's the spiritual work. There's so many different things, you know, within being a mother that you see with your children. I don't know if maybe the problem is marriage is not the culture, because most of the women who are having children out of wedlock are in relationships. So I think that they want to be coupled, but there's not a code of conduct that let me make sure I don't have a child for a man I'm not married to. And men also have to change as well, right? I'm sorry.
Dinah, quickly highlight that comment. She said if he's American, his last name is useless. Somebody put that in the chat. This is what these sisters really think about black men.
No, I actually agree with what Chrissy said. I think on our part, we have to ensure that whoever we choose to have children with, that person is worthy. So I don't agree with any of that.
Yeah, that person is worthy. And on now, I don't know where you guys stand with this, but there are men who feel like, you know, they meet a woman and she should be open her legs 3 months after meeting you, or maybe they're not even waiting 3 months. I don't know what they're doing these days. You know what I'm saying? And even men need to know and be responsible as well. Even when you use a condom, condoms can break. Anytime we engage in sexual activity, a child can come from that. So we both have to be knowledgeable. This woman who looks good, if something goes left, do I want her to be the mother of my children? Would I be okay with that? Is this a woman I want to marry? So on both sides, we have to be more responsible. Then we won't have all these problems. Now, people get married, marriages dissolve. Marriages don't always dissolve because there's something wrong with the woman. You know, there are legitimate reasons why women leave marriages. You know, it could be toxic. It could be toxic for her, the children. It could be all kind of things going on. I do think in this day and age, people are more likely to run away versus stick it out. But there are reasons why people leave relationships. And if you are in a marriage, as a woman, work on it. As a man, work on it. Listen to each other. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is also missing as well. Even I've seen it even on this panel. Sometimes the men, even if you disagree, they just completely will dismiss what the woman is saying. You know what I mean? And if that's how you operate and you're in a relationship with a woman, you're dismissing her, that starts to chip away at her self-esteem as well. So I think we all have to be, nobody's a victim.
Can I respond to that quickly when you're done, Chrissy, that particular point?
I was actually referring to you, so go right ahead.
I know you were, which is hilarious, but listen, here's the thing, and I can't speak for all men. Here's all I'll say is this, right? The dismissal part, it's not necessarily dismissal. The problem is this. A lot of the men who come on these panels are educated brothers, very enlightened, very well read. You know, these guys are sitting down there. Dynas can attest. I'll be sending this dude like emails of different articles every day, right? Different stuff, different things on economics and this. And it may sound arrogant what I'm about to say, but it's okay. I don't care, right? I'm not going to take advice from a woman who's not putting in the same mental work that I'm putting in. It's just like, you know, Quantico, the CIA, those guys who get training down there, you know, if you're a bomb specialist, I had a time where I was exposed to some law enforcement training, and effectively the person who was in charge of command told me that he told all of us there that I may be in charge of this unit, but when it's time for, let's say it's a bomb issue, the person who we sent out for bomb training at the FBI headquarters in Quantico, that's who's in charge at that moment. Not because they're smarter or they're better, but because they're trained for it. So a lot of women, you know, and again, I hate to generalize. If you want your man to listen to you, step your mental game up, step your research game up, step your game up, and then dudes will sit down, at least me, I can speak for myself, and say, oh man, I could consider what she's saying because she just read this book by Warren Buffett. She just sat down there and listened to that Charlie Munger interview that he talked about how to invest, right, in dividend stocks for the last 2 hours. I can take you serious. But if you, at best, are on TikTok, you know, or, you know, everything you say is something that is rehashed, I'm not going to dismiss you, but I'm not going to put you in the brain trust of decision-making capacities. And I think that's how most men think about it. Now, most men won't say what I said because they want to sleep with the woman, because, you know, they don't want to mess up the chances of laying in bed with the woman. So they won't say it the way I'm saying it. I don't care about that because I don't know any of the women on this panel to sleep with you guys. So my point is that, you know, I just want to hear what you have to say about that. Tell your sisters, step their mental game up.
I agree with that. I cast them up. I agree.
I agree. I've experienced that as well. Women who operate off of feelings and emotion, but what they're saying isn't rooted in any actual intellectual discourse or knowledge. I'm going to be dismissive of anyone who does that. Right now, I've met some women who are brilliant, who are business women, who are black-minded, down for the cause, on code. Listen, I'm listening to them like it's a Sada Shakur giving a Sunday speech. So it just comes down to the individual person and what they're saying is of value or not, right? And unfortunately, we know more often than not, particularly in the modern society with modern women, there tends to be more dreamy Disneyfication of how things are supposed to work or how relationships are supposed to work. I can recall I was in a brief relationship with a woman one time where she felt that you shouldn't have to plan for the future, just cross the bridge when you get there. And I said, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I need to end this now, right? So,
okay, Professor Libomba, what I will say to that, women are a bit dreamy, right? We are raised different. We are different. Okay, we're more emotional, right? We are more dreamy. I was planning my wedding. I was like seven planning my wedding. Okay, so it's just like I'm sure many of you at 7 weren't doing that. So, but being dreamy doesn't. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a feedback.
Well, hold on. Last dude, you have the echo. You gotta turn off the back play. That's why I muted you. You gotta turn off the replay, man.
Yeah, being dreamy doesn't mean that she's stupid. There are aspects of us that work that way. And that's why I think coming together is good, because man brings a level of logic that sometimes we don't see, you know, and we can bring, aspirations, thinking about creativity and all that kind of stuff. And I think that there's a good balance. A woman is not going to be a man. A woman's not going to think a man, but like a man. But I think that we should have a mutual respect. Now, what we were talking about, we weren't talking about reading Frantz Fanon and Black Power struggle. We were talking about a woman expressing her feelings, a man expressing their. Nobody got to read a book to express themselves. So just how you said, the woman said something about the male privilege, whatever. Me, well, I'm not a man, but
let's just quickly. That's not what we're talking about.
Can I just finish one
Well,
moment?
let her finish, guys. Let her finish, please.
I
Go ahead,
think
Chris.
rather than maybe dismissing the relationship, I would dismantle why do you think this? Where do you get this from? You know, having those kind of conversations. I think if the woman is willing to listen and hear you out, she can learn a lot from you. So that's all I want to say.
But Sister Christy, quickly,
Wait, hold on.
and I'm not
Hold
going
on,
to stop
hey,
because
hey,
they weren't talking about that.
Let me make this
No, because
one point.
you got to tell her what you were talking about.
No.
Because they're saying I dismissed Afri.
Gas them up. Chill out. I want to hold on 1 second. Let me pass it to Afri and Black Beauty. But go ahead, Afri. Go ahead and respond, and then we'll pass it to Black Beauty.
I mean, listen, guys. I also read books, and I'm also educated, and I don't speak on emotion. There are things that are facts. There are things that are opinion. If I'm asking you a question, that's why I was a little, annoyed, because earlier in the other live, I gave evidence to the subject that we were talking about, and that was dismissed.
No, you didn't.
Sometimes men.
No, you didn't.
I'm sorry.
I said no, you didn't.
Okay, well, I can drop. You consider evidence to be like at least 15 or 30 minutes or long. I got that for you.
Yeah,
I don't want to
do media. I don't do media clips. I don't do clips. Like I need.
All right, that's fine. I
everything.
can give you the whole thing, but later. To Chrissy's point, if something hurts us as women, why would you continue to do it? You know what I mean? Like this, if something is hurting you, you would want somebody to console you about that, right? Right? So like as a man, like you as a man complain about women being snappy and talking outside of their necks. That's the main complaint from men to women, is that we hurt y'all. So like if the reverse is happening, why would you not be concerned? That's number one. And number two, yeah, I mean, if y'all want facts, I got facts. I have books. I got facts. Ask me anything.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Let me pass the Black Beauty a little bit, then I pass it back to you. Black Beauty, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, I'm on my way to KFC right now with my dudes, but I just wanted to make a quick comment about the comment that I dropped in the chat. And basically, my thing is this: if we are trying to undo the chains of slavery, and we're the last 400 whatever years of systematic oppression, then ultimately for me, my decision of coming to Africa really has nothing to do with long stroke Kwame. It really has more to do with not wanting Jenkins and Smith for my son's last name. I mean, when I say your last name is useless, it is not a shot to men. It is a shot to system of oppression. And to be honest with you, I want my children to have a better lineage. I want them to have access to more respect as young Black children, and that is my choice. So it really is not a slight to the Black American men, because there are plenty fine Black American men like yourself, Dynast. But at the end of the day, you've changed your name, and not all of them have. Not all of them have identity. And for me, I would prefer, the last names of men who have a lineage they can put their hands on, and that's just a personal choice. So it is what it is. I also think that we talk a lot about books, and I think, a lot of us, we're learned individuals, we're well read and well studied, but it ain't nothing to it but to do it. My mother used to say that before she passed. And every time I went to my mom and I said, I'm going to do this thing, she said, just do it already. It was not a matter of, see right here. It was not you're going to Black Bell, yeah?
Hey, Black Beauty,
Black Bell,
you need to be going to Chicken. Hold on, Black Beauty. Why you and Legos going to KFC? You need to be going to Chicken Republic.
I had Chicken Republic for lunch. So Chicken Republic is
Yeah,
closed
that's
now.
terrible. You going to KFC in Lagos?
Yeah, I had Chicken Republic for lunch. I'm on Adiola.
Wait, Dynast, you know what she needs? You fall in my hand, sister. You're supposed to be eating amala with the way do. Tell her, Dynast.
I had moi moi earlier today. I don't like amala. I don't like that. I like eba and egusi, and I'm Hausa, so I don't eat all that Europe.
See that, Dynast?
But to be honest with you, I'm at a Ziba. I'm about to go to Black Bell, and now I'm going to KFC. But to be really, it's not a shot at Black men. It's just a matter of, I'm tired of this last name. I'm tired of Smith and Jenkins, because when these history books are written, they're not going to know who's a black man, who's a white man, it's not going to be so obvious to them in American history, and I feel we need to get our last names back. So that's really what I was trying to say by saying that point. It wasn't about African American men being useless. It's about reclaiming your identity and your heritage. You know, like, you should understand that. I know that you understand that as a Nigerian. So that's it.
All right, go ahead, Lumumba speaks.
Yeah, so just a couple of things I want to touch on, but just to touch on Black Beauty, you don't have to move to get with a brother who doesn't have a European surname. My last name is Lumumba. My children, my son and my daughter, their last names are Lumumba. So you don't have to move to have to happen, but more power to
I didn't
you.
say you have to, and I think that's awesome. That's cool.
But you said that that's the reason why you did. But
yeah, and also, you know, I'm learning Alsa as well. You know, like I just did my lineage last year when I was on the trip with Dynast, and to be honest with you, I'm learning it. I'm learning Alsa. I'm reconnecting with my roots. I date someone who's in the Delta State, and that's just what I'm doing. That's my choice.
Back to Chrissy when she was making the comments that I never said that women were stupid. That's something that you talked about.
I never said you said women were stupid. Did I say that? I don't believe I said that.
No, you didn't say that, but he dropped off.
No, you didn't say that.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
You didn't say that. You didn't say that. Yeah, you didn't say that.
To the chat.
Free game podcast. Free game podcast. Go ahead, free game podcast.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, free game. When you call in, it's like a cracking noise. I don't know. It's like crackling. Like.
Let me call on my other phone.
Okay, cool.
So, Dynast, according to Afri, you didn't give any evidence. Allegedly, you and Dr. Lumumba gave no evidence.
I mean, listen. I'm across the street. I'm just gonna cross the street.
We couldn't even get to that point.
I still don't know if it's like collectively choosing. There are some people who choose, but just because you leave a relationship doesn't mean that you're choosing to be a single parent. There are a number of legitimate reasons to leave a relationship that is unhealthy. That doesn't mean that you should by yourself because you left the relationship.
But Chrissy,
sit in the relationship and die. There are legitimate reasons to leave a relationship.
Here's the thing. I agree with you 100% on that. But from what Afri said and Black Beauty being in Nigeria right now, I think the fundamental error on both men and women is that we don't approach it from a family perspective. That's one. We're approaching it individually, all of us, right? Especially growing up in the West, we're taught to make individual choices for relationships, and we're not taught to make family choices, because the real purpose of a marriage is to merge families and merge businesses together. That's why when you go into divorce court, a divorce court is actually a court. I forgot what the term is. I'm not a lawyer, but it's actually a business transaction, right? To make it colloquial, the judge doesn't ask you how much love you have to share. He says, how many assets do we have to divide? So a marriage is a business. It's a partnership. And so I think when you ladies are trying to make it seem like, oh, it's this individual thing, or the man decided to leave, you're not taking into account that, one, the community and the families are no longer as involved, even in Africa. That's starting to die down. Right now, a lot of the ladies who are single mothers, maybe an arranged marriage would have worked, right? Like if Lori Harvey had Steve Harvey was Saudi Arabian, Lori Harvey would have had a husband by now. All this hot girl summer, single mother, whatever, single girls live life, whatever. It's cool, I'm not hating on them, but there's a reason why, our girls end up spinsters, 30-something years old. They've traveled the world, they've enjoyed everything, but, they have a kid or two. Hey, like I said, I think the key evidence that I felt I provided was that, and none of you two ladies addressed it, is that the state in the Western world has replaced the need for a man. And the fact of the matter is, men are at a crisis of identity where they don't want to acknowledge that women don't need you. Women, they have government intervention with the state. They can get welfare. They can get affirmative action policies for jobs. Women don't need men, and no man wants to acknowledge it. It's like men are just like, oh, woman, look at me. I work hard. I'm a high value guy. Look at me. I'm this. I'm long stroke plumbing. Look at me. It's like they don't need you, dude. They only need you for 15 minutes and hope you have some back stamina. That's all you're good for.
No,
And
that's
after
some
that,
women. And I think I don't think that's a small. I don't know. I don't know if it's a small majority. I would like to think it's a small majority of women or a minority of women who think that way. But I don't. Even those women who do think, yeah, I'm going to get money.
That's a fact.
You get more access to a man's money when you're married to him. You share accounts. You share a life.
Chrissy, what about the fact that one of the biggest things right now is child support? Child support, and I'm looking at that as this. Let me. I'm not gonna be long-winded here. I'm gonna say this right. When they initially started the welfare system, that was designed for white families. Okay, white families. There's this myth that I said the dinosaur article, right? In Kentucky, right? There's a county that's 98% white, right? They have the highest rate of welfare use, right? But that basically is taking off the thing because the face of welfare is a single black mother, black people, abandoned children, all that stuff like this. But it's actually white people. I work in Medicare and Medicaid, and most of the people that's on Medicaid assistance are white people in rural areas. I've seen it with my own eyes. Okay. Here is the thing, though, right? In America, right? Black men are villainized and vilified, right? Black women know there's good black men all around them, right? But there's power in victimhood, right? There's power in the black woman when she's even white men. I see it all the time, right? If she's a single mother with kids and everything, there's white people that'll come to her aid. And that's basically to make the black men look like we're not capable of raising our kids. Oh, look at this woman; she's trying so hard. And this image of a strong black woman, the men don't. And the bottom line, instead of our women coming to our aid and say, no, that's not the case. There's more power in basically doing that, and that's what a lot of men are saying. Look, man, I tried to go. I've done it myself, right? You try to be that perfect man, right? And the women are saying, look, I got you, right? She'll let you keep bumbling and buying her stuff and doing this for her kids, doing this stuff, and then nothing's good enough, right? Nothing's good enough, and so therefore, we black men have bought into the idea that we're no good, because we got to prove that we're not like the stereotype. We got to prove that we are good providers and everything like this. And let me tell you something. Before I bought my house like 4 years ago, I lived right next door to this black lady. She was evil incarnate, evil. I mean, the epitome of evil, right? I park slightly in front of her house, right? She come knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. You got to move your car. It's evil. So this older guy, moved in with her, right? Hardworking brother, man. I think he worked at the airport as a mechanic or something like that. Hardworking brother. He asked me one time, "Can I put my he had an engine because he was in the car. He had his own hobby." She goes, "She don't want me having a hobby." So he had his engine, right, that he was working on, put in my garage. You guys laugh, put in my garage because she just
Colin, rule number one: a man should never move in with a woman. So I don't feel sorry for him at all.
Thank you.
But he was paying the bill. He'll pay half the bill. He'll make the money.
I don't
She
care.
had a daughter.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. That's rule number one. I would never move.
But he was a good brother, though. He was a hardworking brother. Loved her. He wasn't even good looking.
It don't matter. Colin, it don't matter. I will never move in with a woman.
I would never do it either. But it was just sad, man. But the whole thing is this, and this brother just left. He just bounced. He just said, "Look, I had enough, man." He said, "Man, I tried everything. I was paying the bills. I was paying everything, and this, that, and the other thing. I treated her daughter. She bought her daughter. He bought her daughter a puppy, a Yorkie. And
don't matter.
He was just like trying to be a father.
Don't matter.
So my question for you, Kala, is right because I hear a lot. I think we all hear a lot. Black men complaining about black women. How are y'all choosing your women? What are the criteria when you see a woman? First, you see the physical, she's beautiful, whatever. How are you choosing your women? How are you determining?
Me personally,
I mean, just you could speak for you or.
Okay, let me say this. Let me say this, right?
How are you choosing?
Like this, I was basically when I was out there, my player years when I did not care about anything but looks. Girl was hot. I wanted to be with her. My last girlfriend before I got with Isabella, I was on and off with her for 17 years. We was young when we first started dating and stuff like that. But the first thing she tells me, right? First thing she tells me when our first date was, I was raped by my stepfather,
Mhm.
right? And that was always in my mind every time she would throw a fit. That always got to make her happy or something like that. Then years later, after I get back where I think she's growing out of that, she always would remind me of that. Yeah. Oh, she was at a staying in a shelter one time, and a group of guys raped her. Beat her
Wow.
and raped her. And I say to myself, and this so hot me being the soft-hearted person I am, right? I always took that because everybody's like, "Yo, she is freaking ruined. She's destroying." My brother hated. My brother was going to introduce us, right? And he was like, she goes, "Where's she at? What's Tasha at?" Oh, she's out with her girlfriends and whatnot. She'll go out with her girlfriends and whatnot. We break out dates, do all kinds of stuff. She knew I would be right there because I was in love with her. Abused me. Just had her no matter what. If I did something for a nice word, I said, "Oh, I'm in there right now." The next week, I go, "What's the matter?" She sit there cold and distant and everything. Here I got to start all over again.
But
Warm her
Kala,
up and everything like that. Uh, yeah.
Kala, love
Yeah,
you.
but
I
Chrissy, this is the
appreciate you.
problem, and,
But
and Chrissy, I'm gonna say this. This is why I kind
okay,
of think your question is somewhat disingenuous because
okay.
we're told you can't judge a woman by her past. You can't judge a woman by her past. So when you ask what kind of women are we choosing, I mean, I thought is you got to move forward. You can't judge a woman by her past. Are we saying we should judge women by their past?
No, I'm not talking about past. The first thing, and that's why I want to preface with I love you, Kala. You're intelligent. I appreciate you, but I don't feel sorry for you in this situation. And I'm going to tell you why. At the
No,
beginning
I
of
was hurt. I was in love. Yeah, you
no,
can't
no,
you
no,
can have
no,
no
no. I
empathy for
don't.
that.
I
I
don't.
was in
And I'm
love.
going to tell you why I
Yeah,
don't feel sorry
Tyler,
for
you
you
see
in this
how cold
situation.
blooded these women are?
No,
No
no, no, no.
sympathy.
Gas them up.
I
Don't
get
even
I
say
get where she's coming
no, no,
from,
no.
but
Gas.
nobody. I learned that nobody cares. Nobody
Kala,
cares.
no,
That's
Oh,
why
yeah,
gay
yeah,
people
yeah,
in
yeah,
America
yeah.
I
when
No,
they
jump
no,
talk
to
about
nobody cares, Tyler.
conclusions.
Go
Let
ahead.
me finish my sentence. Let me finish. And I'm going to tell you why. I asked you how you choose. You said, to be honest, I was young. I was in those streets. I didn't care. So you didn't choose a woman based on character. You chose based on lust. And when you
but
make
that's
decisions
what but
based
that's
on
what
lust,
men do.
you get what you get. So is it that it's
But
women collectively fault, or it's how y'all say,
but
well, listen,
Chrissy,
we
do
yeah,
you
but
have a
don't
son?
women do the same
should
thing?
chose better
Don't women
too.
do the same thing? Women do the same thing.
Yes,
Chrissy,
and they should
wait,
have
Kyla,
chosen
hold on.
better
Chrissy,
too.
do you
But
have a
when we are
son?
not,
Chrissy,
let me finish, Gaston. I do have a son, but let me finish up. When we choose, when we choose only on the physical and not looking at character and other aspects, then we end up in the well, you can still, but many times we end up in the situations that we end up in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that out of love because I appreciate you and I respect you, Kala. But I'm saying from the way you said I was in those streets. What is in the street? Nothing good is in the street. So you
Uh,
were looking at her from that lens. You weren't looking at her like, man, because she be a wife. Oh wow, she's submissive. She's sensitive. She's caring. I didn't hear nothing about character. I heard that she looked good and she was beautiful. And that's not good enough. It's just
well,
not.
I'm telling you how men are. Men are just when I was with her,
Carla, speak for
I
yourself,
was
man.
on top of the friggin' world. I had the finest friggin' woman. I was
That's
like,
not
oh
enough.
man,
That
she
don't
made
make
me.
a good
I
woman.
mean,
That don't make a good
yeah,
woman.
but
She
Kyla,
look
man.
good
here's
on
the
the
here's the
outside,
thing.
but she's tearing you up on the inside.
What's happened is that the modern man has been thoroughly, and I've said this on these shows before. Any man who wants to understand, if you really want to understand it, uh, you can send me an email, gasthemup@gmail.com. I'll give you the book called The Manipulated Man by Esther Villar and The Anatomy of Female Power by the Pan Africanist Chinwe Izu. Right? So if you really want to understand what's happened to the modern man, and the truth of the matter is, the modern man has been afflicted by this thing where he is taught to pursue the woman or to choose the woman, and in actuality, it's the women that should be doing the choosing. I'm going to preface this with something that it buttresses my point. I saw a video on YouTube a while back where the gentleman actually gave an example in Victorian times that if you walked by a woman, she would drop her handkerchief. That was her cue to let you know that she was interested, right? So you saw a lot of guys hoping that the fly chick would drop her handkerchief. If not, she wasn't interested in you. Or in, I believe, Polynesian societies, the women would put a certain flower in their hair around a certain type of guy to let him know, like, yo, I'm choosing you. Modern man today has been manipulated into getting trinkets, getting a house, getting all these things to think that he has to be the person that's signaling to women, when in reality, it's women that should be signaling to you. Why? Because they're the ones who want the marriage. They're the ones who want the kids. So they should be the ones giving you their resume. And I know all the women in the chat are going to write, oh, he's been hurt, blah, blah. Actually, no. Have nothing but beautiful relationships with lovely, gorgeous women. But the point is that women should be choosing you as the man. You shouldn't be chasing the woman. If she doesn't like you, and I know the women may not say this, but they know this in their hearts. If the woman likes you in her heart and she really loves you, that relationship, if you don't treat her bad and you don't abuse her, that relationship can last a long time. But if you are the one who had to use money and a car and a house and I'm a good man
Yeah, I
and blah,
bought a
blah,
car.
blah,
I
well,
bought a
exactly. So
convertible.
if you had to do all of that, right, just to get the woman, then no, she's going to, some of these women will just be in your face with the material game, but want to throw up in their mouth every time they see you. So I think men should take a step back, focus on your purpose. Like the brother Fitzgerald always says, right? He gives great advice. Focus on your purpose. Go to the gym, get good exercise, jog, keep your heart healthy, make a lot of money, travel the world. And if a chick is serious and she's willing to follow your program and she's willing to prove herself to you, then you can invite her and say, well, listen, this is my team, this is what we're doing, and this is your role. If she's not willing to do that, let her cross the street and get a superhero white boy.
Check
I
this
just
out,
don't know
I
why,
Gassimo. Check
really
this out.
chase men,
Check,
so
check, check
I
this
don't know
out,
about
Gassimo.
that.
Now, on the times we break up, right? I will get with somebody else, right? But the woman that were doing all the stuff you say, right? I did not appreciate that. I turned that bitterness that I had for her onto those other women, that were trying to do the. I messed this one relationship up. This woman really liked me. She was beautiful too. She was just as beautiful as Tasha. But the fact that she was always catering to me and always at my beck and call and stuff like that, I kind of, I don't know. I just kind of said, this can't be real, And I was like, I
So
didn't
there's
treat her the
fault on
same
both
way,
sides.
stuff like
There's
that.
fault
So
on both sides.
I
You
don't
have
know
a
what that was.
story, good,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Chrissy. Go ahead, Chrissy.
No, I was just saying, Colin, I appreciate you being honest and balanced. There's fault on both sides, right? So, it's that, like, there's a Haitian proverb, and I know I say Haitian proverbs a lot. Where there's a head, there's no neck. I never forgot that when I had a friend tell me that. Meaning that it just seems sometimes like good men and good women can't meet up, or it takes a while, right? So the good man ends up with a trashy woman, and the good woman ends up with a trashy man. Unfortunately, it just seems like where there's a head, there's no neck, So, but I think we have to kind of sift through. Unfortunately, we don't live in a culture where people are, it's families who are putting folks together and at least positioning them to see if they like each other. And you come from the same background and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just different. But the whole thing gassed them upset about, I don't believe in women chasing men. I think that's a masculine role to chase.
I never said chase.
So what word did you use?
You see, you didn't listen.
I agree.
You
I
heard
agree with
something.
you, Gassimo.
I
sounds
said
like chasing.
choose. No,
Choose.
that's what you see. You see, gentlemen, you
But
see
women
what the
do
women
choose.
do. You
But look,
say A, women do, they hear D, then they do X. And by the time you get home, you got the whole alphabet and you're confused because you said A at the very beginning. I said historically, women, even in Victorian times, which we've all been colonized by the Europeans, were the ones who actually did the choosing.
yes,
That's
men
what I
present
said.
themselves to you, and you choose from who presents themselves.
No. The Victorian women would drop their handkerchief, and I got this from some of these YouTube sound bites, and I went and researched it. Victorian women, as a matter of fact, her name is Sarah Jessica Hardy or Sarah something Hardy. She's a primatologist. I can send it to Dynas. I send her stuff all the time. But she was an anthropologist and a primatologist who actually talked about Victorian women choosing their mates back then. Right? Women were very much involved in their relationship decision-making process. So women have always chosen, but there was cultural norms as to how they chose. So in Victorian times, the women would observe the men. Hey, is he studious? Does he have good posture? Women say, I love him because of the way he ate his, jollof rice and his smile. Whatever. You women know why you like the men. And they would drop their handkerchief. The men at that time knew if you walked by a woman and she dropped her handkerchief, she's giving you the signal. Polynesian women would put a certain flower in their hair to let the guy know, yo, I'm looking at you. And then they would have conversations to see if there was interest. So women always should be the ones choosing. I didn't say chase, I said choose.
All right, hold on 1 second, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. We're going to pass it to Obento, then Theo, then to Larry. Go ahead, Obento.
Oh, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Hear you just fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, on YouTube, these marriage and gender conversations have been going on for years now. Every day there's a live stream about these things. What have they achieved? Because I feel like these conversations are secular, and not secular as in like SUCSECULAR, but like circular. Like no one ever comes to a conclusion because both sides are trying to spread their propaganda. And the only person on this panel who's even being slightly honest is Gaston when he says the modern Western woman does not need a man physically. The man was there to protect and to provide. She can provide for herself because most jobs these days are office jobs, especially if you're living in a city.
She can't
And
change her
protection is
tire.
provided by. Okay, bro, she can get someone else to change a tire. How much does it
It ain't
cost
one
to
of her
change a tire?
girlfriend. It ain't one of her
You see?
girlfriends.
Okay, so
Kyle,
she's
let him
gonna
finish,
marry
Kyle.
you
Let him
and
finish.
tolerate
Go ahead.
everything with you because you can change a tire for her. Like that makes no sense. And the protection is collectively provided through tax money by the cops and so on. So, and on the other hand, also doesn't need a woman in the house as much. Like you can take care of most of your house needs. So the only reason a marriage is actually needed is for the children. And whether you like it or not, most women don't feel like they need a man to raise a child. Like we can all disagree with that, but that's what most women, especially liberal women, think. So that's the reality you have to live with. And what started this whole stream was the lady who wanted, I think, was it her or her kids to go to Nigeria? First of all, none of these women that are Western are going to be able to hack it, going to marry a Nigerian man or even any African man. These African men are going to lay down the law and they're going to break within 1 or 2 years maximum. So I can't wait to see how that failed. But yeah, let's just be honest with ourselves, man. Because if you guys are both spreading your propaganda and you're just talking over each other's head, the only one who made any real points is Gaston. Someone else can take the thing.
All right, go ahead, Theo.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Yeah, so that's my sentiments exactly. I agree with Gaston up to that point and Obento. The reality is we live in a new world. I mean, everybody keeps referencing older times, to come up with solutions or to deal with relationships, but women don't need men for what they used to. I mean, like he said, protection that's provided by law enforcement. Women can pull the trigger just like a man can. Some women are stronger than some men, right? Some women are faster than some men, and on and on. Some women are smarter than some men. So there's nothing that says that a man is going to be necessarily be better at anything than a woman, to where a woman actually needs a man. And even when it comes to kids, you need both parents, but I think facing the reality that they just spoke of, men need to realize that their job is to be there for their kids, even if they don't live under the same roof, and don't get bent out of shape when you're not under the same roof, because women don't need you in the same capacity anymore. But you still support your child. You still do things that that's necessary to create a cooperative environment for the child, right? And that can happen even when you're not in a relationship. So all of this kind of makes me question like the relevance of the institution of marriage. It's more of a personal choice than it is a necessity for anyone. And we often talk like, people need marriage. I heard someone say earlier that people need to work on their marriage. Marriages that don't last as long as they used to. But I mean, that's a personal choice that people have to make. I mean, if a person gets married and for whatever reason they don't want to be in that marriage this day and age, I think they ought to call it
Yeah, but your
quits.
society pay for that. Just but your society
Hey,
and taxpayers
Kyle,
pay for that.
let me pass to Larry. Theo, are you done?
Well, something else I wanted to
Wait,
say. when it comes
Dynas, can
comes
I
to
just
all of
make
this.
one point that I
Right.
forgot
Well,
before?
no. I want to pass. I want to make sure Larry speaks. Then we could. Theo, go ahead. Hurry up.
And I think it's, when I was speaking earlier, it's in line with, just everything that was said. It's, women, especially in the United States of America, are more empowered than women have been historically in the world and elsewhere in the world, even today. So with that being said, the idea that men should be the providers or are supposed to be the providers, that doesn't really hold up well today, because the only reason men did that back in the day was because men were the one who had the resources. Men owned the homes, the land. They had political power, economic power. They were the educated ones, right? So it made sense that they showed that responsibility back then. So to box yourself in today according to that old paradigm would really just slender your pool, right? It would narrow your pool for no reason at all, because you may not need those things from a man. Like if a woman is making $100,000, right? She can totally take care of a household. So if she meets a man that loves her and she loves him that makes 30,000, I mean, why not? I mean, a man would do it easily, right? Why women don't make the same empowered choices that men make today, it has a lot to do with why you hear some of the complaints that you have today, here today. Just like Gastamut was saying, you have to go out and choose. Like you have the power now. Exercise it. You see something you like, go for it. But I think men should continue to do the same thing. If you don't, well, just wait for what comes to you. But I think everyone, should just go for what you want. Another point, when it comes to welfare has nothing to do with why women leave men. I don't think, because if a woman wants resources, welfare isn't that much, right? So if a man
Food
has
stamps,
resources,
Section 8,
I
Section
disagree.
8, child
I
support.
disagree.
Oh yeah.
right, right.
Hold
But
on.
if a man,
Hold on.
it depends. Okay, it depends on the man. It
Hold
depends on
on.
the man's
I got.
resources. But
Theo, let me pass to Larry. Go ahead, Larry.
okay,
Go ahead,
go ahead,
Larry.
go ahead.
Thank you very much. I won't take up too much time. What I have to say is just a question. A lot of people have been talking about women not needing men because the state has now taken over that role. I was curious to find out from those who push that narrative, is there a solution? Is there a happy ending, or is it a case of it's over?
Nope.
Okay, could you please share with us what you think the solution is? Thanks.
Let me answer that. Okay, a few years ago, back in like 2006, right? Me and my brother, our birthdays are 2 days apart, so him and I tradition, we always go out together, right? We usually go to a strip club. We don't do that anymore, but we go out to a strip club, right? We went to this one strip club in Chesapeake, right? And all of a sudden, this guy comes in, right? Tall brother. He was on crutches, right? He had broke his leg, whatever. And his wife or whatever was Puerto Rican, right? And he comes in, right? And he wasn't happy at all, right? And she was with a bunch of her friends that she met down here, and he was from Jersey. And all of a sudden, she was at the bar throwing dollars at the girls, right? And he was like telling the one girl, "Why you have my wife at this friggin' bar and doing this?" And the bouncers come over with the problem here. And also, man, I was sitting there talking to the guy. The guy goes, "Look, man," he goes, "We moved down here, right? I want to be a husband, a family, and everything. We get down here, she get with these people, and here we are every night. They're coming over to the house, and they're coming, bringing her out and everything. And then I heard one of the girls say this, right? She goes, "Come on, just stay at my house and whatnot. You can get her for child support." I heard that with my own ears. And I said to myself, damn, these people said, "Oh, you don't have to be with him, you know?" And the girl was like, "I don't know." I said, "No, girl, just stay with her. You're young, you know?" She was like in her 20s. He was like maybe like 34, 35. And she was like, "Oh, he's just trying to lock you down. You want to have some fun, girl," and everything. And also, this is what no one's talking about. Then when that same girl, he moves on, finds another wife, whatever like that, and even if he's paying child support, years later she's on TikTok being bitter that men are no good and everything, but she had a good man that way. He said, "Look, I work, I provide." He was pouring his heart to me. "I work, I provide, I do everything for her," you know. And but she wants to do all this stupid stuff and whatnot. She will find up in Jersey. When we come down here, these people don't respect marriage down here, and she's hanging out with these single women and whatnot. Their marriages failed, whatever. And also, next thing you know, they're trying to take her out and everything, calling her up, saying, "Let's go," because she looked hot. And she was a Puerto Rican girl. She looked hot. And he was like, "Yeah, they're trying to make her talk her all this stuff like this, dressing provocatively and everything." And he's like, "Man, why don't I just leave my fucking marriage alone, my family alone? I just want to raise my family." He goes, "I just want to raise my family." Now, what I'm hearing in the conversation is, "Oh, that's okay." No man wants to be out there his whole life, running the streets, going to clubs. Like, if you over 40 in your 40s and you're still in the club, you're still dating, every time I hear somebody in their 40s about dating, I feel like smack them in the head. You should be settled down with a family and stuff like this. This is what I'm talking about. We got to get serious about this stuff because we as a race look stupid. Another thing, last thing I'm gonna say is this. I noticed when I used to do club security, I was a bouncer for years and everything. I noticed that the average age of white girls who hung out in clubs was like 15 years younger than the black women. The black women
Colin,
would be
Colin,
the age of their mother.
Colin, let me interject.
Yeah,
You make a great point, and I'll let one of the women like Chrissy respond. You make a great point because I don't hear like, especially like when I was working in corporate America, I didn't hear like the middle-aged white women talking about going out and hitting the streets. I didn't hear it. You kind of got a good point, Colin. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying now I hate getting into the gender war stuff and everything like that. If this was like a generation ago in the 60s, we would be having this conversation. But somehow, like I said in the last stream before we got cut off, I said, look, the feminist movement, right? We made a big mistake in the 60s joining the Marxists, joining the feminists, joining all this stuff. They just completely destroyed the black family. The black man's a villain, he's a buffoon, I remember one guy. Remember that one guy that had said, "So I give my children everything." Remember that guy? And there was on a Yana Vicente show. It was a viral TikTok, whatever. And I'll say every people in the chat in the comments call him Fred Flintstone and whatnot. Who's Fred Flintstone over here? Talking about, I provide for my wife and everything. She don't have to do nothing. I pay all the bills. And everybody was clowning him, talking about he sounds like a freaking caveman. He sounds like a thing. What do they want? A man says, "I'll provide for everything," but when he does, everybody starts clowning him. It's like,
hey, Kyle, do you know the story behind that? Like, there was something else behind that story. But Larry, did I answer your question?
No, not really. I mean, I'll make it even more simple. Prince, Afri, Chrissy, Carla, you guys are all married. So
I'm not married. I'm not married.
Oh, sorry. To those who are married, regardless of all the hurdles that we've heard are causing problems, you guys were able to get past those hurdles. What is your secret?
I went overseas, man.
If you
I got out of the matrix, man. I had to, I found a beautiful girl, a different culture, a different value system that I wanted, and I went for it. That's what's simple for me. I'm saying maybe there's an African American girl out there like that, but I'm like this. I listen to them talk and everything. I listen to the conversations. It's like that'll never be me again. I told Isabella, you never have to worry about me cheating, girl. I know when I got a good thing.
Thanks for that, Chrissy.
I would say yes. I would say in my process, my mother always said to me, I'm sorry, my daughter's going. Go. My mother always said to me, choose a man you would want to choose a man for your children who you would want to be your father. And that always stuck with me. So in the dating process, one, I didn't, I held on to my virginity for a very long time. I got kicked to the curb by a lot of dudes who weren't willing to wait. And I said, just do what you got to do. And, go, bye, But one thing I did was I looked for a man who would make a good husband and a good father. That's what was first and foremost. Somebody, of course, who looks decent, somebody who's ambitious, and my thinking is, will this man make a good father and a good husband? I introduced that man to my father, to my uncle, and to my male cousin for approval. What do you think of this dude? After I got approval, I took it from there. That's how I did it, because I just didn't want to be in a. And I also
Chrissy. Sorry, Chrissy.
Yeah.
Was it by accident that you met this guy, or was there a particular place you went looking for? Did you get advice as to this is where you should go for men,
Honestly,
or
I
it was
met
just
him
purely by
online.
accident?
I met him
Okay,
online.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
So yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I don't remember. But yeah, that's what I did. I wanted to. I chose somebody who I thought was a good guy, because guys would always say, "Oh, the girls like the bad guys." I said, "I don't want no bad guy. I don't want nobody to break my heart." And that doesn't mean it's gonna 100% either, right? The good guy could break your heart, but that's how I chose.
Thanks very much.
I can answer, but I'll let other people go. I want to get to Larry's point.
Oh,
Go ahead.
wait, gas them up. You're married. Wow, I didn't. I would never have thought so. The way you were.
I don't put. Here's the thing. That as I said this, the person for me, I don't see the, and this is just me saying. I think it becomes a crutch when people say, "Well, I'm married and I'm this," and no disrespect to anybody on the panel who's married, divorced, whatever. I like to, look at the strength of the velocity of the argument, right? Because and I'm not dismissing what you said about marriage, Larry, in terms of yes, there's anecdotal experience that comes with that. There's a wealth of experience, but a lot of times, when people get on here and say, "My best friend is, purple, and my uncle is married," it turns into armchair psychology. So people end up using dismissal by proxy. So it's like, "Oh, well, you're not married, so I have to dismiss what you said, even if your argument is the stronger argument." They use that as a form of dismissal by proxy. But I just wanted to quickly say, right, that to me, I was doing some research a few months back. This is around May. I came across a book, and it really shocked me. This book was talking about Black life out west, right? In the 1900s, a lot of Black people were living in, like the Western, right? And, the cowboys and the gunslinging and all that stuff. That film that came out with Idris Elba and Regina King about the West, even though it's exaggerated, but a lot of Black people are living out west. And so, to make a long story short, so I'm reading the book about Black life out west, and I come across this particular chapter where they talk about the Black women who were with Black men at the time. And one of their complaints was that these men are, the ones who are not married, end up, dealing with like seedy women who are not of good character, as Chrissy was saying. And they actually started to, push and emphasize that we need marriage in these communities. So, funny enough, just like in today, you have mail order brides coming in from Russia. There were mail order brides in the 1900s. Anybody can research this, where Black women on the East Coast and some in the South, in particularly, were leaving their homelands. Right, these women, they would put advertisements, and these women would look at the advertisement, and they would leave their family and everything, and get on a train. The man would pay for the ticket, and these women would leave just because of the push for marriage was so important to them. And they would get on the train with no assurance that it would turn out A-okay. No assurance that these guys didn't have, top 401ks. They weren't high value men. None of this nonsense. And these women were taking these risks because marriage and community was that important to them. And
survival. Survival.
And I think that's something, and that's why I said the state has intervened. And let me say why I think the state is so insidious and so genius with what the state has done, particularly to Black people in America and all over the world. Because even in Africa, everybody's running to Africa. Listen, man, there's a lot of single mothers in Africa. These women in Africa, when I talk to them, right? When I talk to them, they tell me, I don't even know, they're listening to feminism. They're following the African American women because they think they're the vanguard. Right? So I'm going to get to somewhere. I'm going to get to somewhere. I'm going to get to somewhere very quickly.
You beat that.
Larry, wait. Let me get somewhere before you hit me with that. Let me just get somewhere. My premise is to say that I think the end result, we're all in this Babylon system. Everybody's in it, right? Wherever you go, this Babylon is after us. I think the end result is eugenics. And they want black population reduced. And one of the ways that they're doing this is this gender war. They've convinced, of course, you have no good black men, and we don't stand by them. If you're a no good black man, throw him under the bus, let the bus run over him, reverse, and run over him 10 more times. We don't stand by no good black men. But I think what's happening is that the end result is that you're going to have, like Dinus just pointed out with Kala, you got these grown women who are in the club, not settling down. These women are going to end up just like the character that Jada Pinkett played in The Matrix, the new film that came out with the aunt from Family Matters, Rachel, where they were basically in a lesbian relationship. Nothing against lesbians, nothing against LGBTQ, whatever. No one's against them. I don't want Dinah's channel to have any issues. But that's the end result. They want black women to either be with superhero white boys or to be by themselves. I'm not going to proffer a solution. I think black women should come up with their own solution. If your ancestors, if your great grandmothers could get on a train and go out west and leave their family with no insurance and no high value man, and they can go start families with these black men out west, you ain't got no excuses. That's just my opinion.
So you would prefer that over the social safety nets? People to just go meet strangers and start a life, right?
No, I didn't say that that's what they should do.
That,
I didn't say that's what they should do. I'm just saying that you can see the emphasis that marriage and community played in the minds of black women at that time. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying. I'm just saying the emphasis is that black women valued marriage so importantly that they took.
Exploitable. Women were more exploitable when these systems.
I'm not. I don't know. I mean, that's your interpretation.
There we go. There we go with the victimhood. The victimhood. You're playing into the victimhood, Theo.
No, I think y'all playing the victim, man. Listen, bro.
No, we're not playing the victim, man. No.
If you do what you gotta do, you ain't gonna have no problems, bro. That's what it boils down to.
Oh, come on. Let's stop it. Stop it. We're not the ones on social media complaining about relations. It's women are.
One mic.
I asked if I could go after.
Go ahead, Afri, and then we'll pass the Black Beauty in 2 nights. Go ahead, Afri. You got something to say?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to answer your question and then drop off. Larry, can you ask the question again?
Do you want me to ask it again? Sorry, you sure? I'll do so. You are one of the lucky people here, I'm guessing, who's married. We've heard a lot of the problems that are affecting men and women from getting together. I just want to know, what was your solution to defeat that problem? What was your solution to end up where you are now? Could you please share that? You don't have to if it's personal.
Okay, so my solution to that, and there is a solution for men and women. For a woman, you have to be able to listen, and you have to be able to, if you're a traditional woman, play your role. For a man, you have to also play your role. For a man, and a Black man in particular, especially if you are going to have children, you have to choose to be a father. That is a choice. That is something that's you. Nobody can take that choice away from you. I'm married to a Black man. We put each other through, I won't say we put each other through a lot, but we pretty much made sure that this is what we wanted. He challenged me as far as like communication, trying to be a better communicator. That was where I fell short. And he fell short because where he fell short on some things. And he will tell you all that I wore him down. But honestly, I had standards.
Oh, we can tell.
And I wanted him to meet those standards. And now that we're together, we're very happy. We're a very happy couple. And we intend to spread happiness, and we intend to spread our wealth. So my solution to that is to just choose to be better parents. That's how you can change the child support problem or the gender war problem or what have you. Obento is right. We've been having these conversations for way too long. and it's kind of stupid actually at this point. Like the solution is very simple. Just choose to be a better father. If you can't stand women who are dependent on welfare, et cetera,
Or be a simp. Go help a woman
So,
out that
What
needs
is
it.
being a
so
simp?
wait,
Theo,
before we go
I'm just
down this
Theo,
road,
this is
being
not a Nigerian
facetious.
market. Can you please
guys,
shut the
before
fuck
we
up,
go down
man?
this road, I just wanted to say, Afri, gassed them up, Chrissy, Carla, thank you very much for that advice, those solutions. I'll come off the panel if somebody else wants to jump on. Thank you very much, Dinus. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.
Okay.
I really.
All right. Black Beauty. Go ahead, Black Beauty. Let me up, Black Beauty. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on? I happen to agree with Gaston. To be honest with you, it seems like it's a major push for a dilution of the race. And I don't think there's anything overall wrong with you finding someone you love, regardless of what background they're from. But it seems to be propagandized so much in our community. Like when you see interracial couples on TV and stuff, it's always one black person in the couple. They don't show like an Asian person and a white person together, or like a Puerto Rican and an Indian. Even though I'm from New York, so I've seen that happen with my own eyes. I've seen other interracial couples that don't involve black people, but they never popularize that and they never show that in the media. So I do find that seems to be the overall theme in the West, which is like, everybody wants a brown kid, everybody wants a kid with sun protection, everybody wants a kid with cute curly fro, but at the end of the day, they don't want black children. They want mixed children, and so I feel like if you have to get up and find your way to Africa, why not? Like Gaston said, it's really not that hard. I mean, we take planes all the time. What's the point of going to all these places if we're just gonna sit across the table with our girlfriends and just eat food? Like, I'm not trying to get fat. So at the end of the day, I just feel like, why not? It doesn't hurt to use your passport to benefit yourself. So get up and go.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, too, Nigel.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I guess this topic is something that we talk about quite often. For me, anyway, I think that the way relationships are right now, which is misaligned, it can be realigned if it depends on what society wants. And I think the misalignment of society is actually deliberate. Western societies, what they tend to do is instead of them to pass a law like the Chinese would do and say have one child, they use different methods to achieve the same ends. Family planning, making the hoops, everything harder to do when you have you want to set up a family, stuff like that. They use nudging techniques to get people to do what they want. And so the misalignment that we see that everybody describes as if it's our fault is something that is baked into the system, and it's not necessarily targeting any community. This is affecting the Europeans, and hence the statement, they will not replace us. Yeah, they believe that they need to reduce the population for some reason. I really don't know why. Because I don't feel like you really need to cut the population down, because if human beings are innovating, they can still do what they need to do. But what can I say? I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't. And we are overthinking it when we say, oh, women do what they need to do, and maybe they don't need men and stuff like that. I thought, that's something we talked about, that it's good to have couples so that they can be able to build generational wealth more easily. And the other advantage of being able to raise a more balanced child, there are advantages to these things, and it's not just one, just saying, no, there's no solution to it. Yeah, there's a solution to it. Like most women now, during their childbearing age, they are chasing their career, and if the life expectancy is to be accurate, 80 years or more, it means that by the time they are 40, maybe they've had children and everything, and they raise their children, maybe they go into their 50s, then they still have about 30 years to go. So if you want people to have children, if they really want to encourage people to have children, they will encourage them to have children earlier Then by the time they finish raising the children by their early 40s and all, they can go and start whatever they want to start. You're still very healthy. You can do a lot of stuff for the next 50 years. So if they want to realign it, they can realign it if they wanted to. They don't want to do that. At least they don't feel the need for. We have 7 billion people in the world. So this whole thing, I talked about it before, where I said men set the pace in societies. In the Arab world, they say they should wear burqa, they wear burqa. The Afghani say the women should not go to school, they will not go to school. And for, I don't know, gas them up to say that the women decide these things. I don't understand that.
How I knew he was gonna do this, man. You just love this Two Nights. How I knew Two Nights was gonna come on here and just
come on, man. Come on. You said women decide these things.
One mic, two nights. Gas them up didn't say that.
No, he said women have to decide who they choose and how.
Yeah, but not as far as the, schools and all that other stuff.
When did they start deciding? When their fathers, hold on, when their fathers used to give them away before. What are you talking about? When did that even start? So you have to till today they have arranging marriages in India like as if it's nothing else. So
come to America and arrange a marriage to Steve Harvey's daughter.
See, you talked about
come
the
to
women
America.
that travel.
See, Go ahead.
You talked about the women that have to travel, to go and seek a spouse. Why do you think they do that? It's because the society the men have created stigmatized not having a.
You're not a psychologist. That's the problem with men. Look, stop being a psychologist.
I'm giving you factual examples of how other societies function.
Why do you care? Let those women, if those women want to travel to the moon, let them.
See, you can say what you want to say. It doesn't change the fact that other societies function differently.
Okay, so you take your own medicine. Come to America and put these women in order. It's real good to talk Big Daddy over there in England, man.
They don't want to see. That's what I'm saying.
You talking Big Daddy over there in England, but you don't even got the women in England in order. Get the women in England in order. I saw a video. There was a Nigerian lady screaming, "Oh, I have some 40-year-old women. They don't have a husband. Please marry them. Go get them and put them in your house, man. Put 2 women in your house and have a polygamous household, and I'll salute you, man. I'll send you a check. You take your own medicine. Y'all come on here and say this stuff for women so they can. Oh, Two Nights is such a strong man.
I don't know
BS.
what point you think I'm making. I'm not picking on anything. I don't know why I'm not even advocating anything. I'm just explaining what I see.
Two Nights has no point. He's just babbling. This is what he does.
Brandon, you need to stop it. You really need to stop it.
Okay. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead, Brandon.
Shut that damn Nigerian up, dude. He ain't saying shit.
See, Brandon, stop it. Can you just talk?
Here's the reality. I don't give a shit what none of y'all say, because ain't none of y'all gonna put y'all ugly ass white wives up on this panel to confirm what you saying, right? You never see who these guys are actually.
Not my snow bunny.
Listen, you never see who these guys are screwing, right? They get on here pontificating on bullshit. Oh, this and that. You know what? Two Nights, stop, bro. You probably got that white woman draws on right now.
You just stop. You didn't even address anything I said. You just
Brandon, I just have one question. Brandon, I just have one question.
Guys, wait. You guys had your chance to talk.
Gents, just ask Brandon who's bigger, him or Two Niger's wife.
You guys had your chance to talk.
I don't know why they are giving me wife. I don't know. Maybe he's got the wife for me. Maybe I don't know what he's talking about.
Listen, bro. I do know what I'm talking about. Get your wife up here right now, and if you let you go do that, shut your mouth.
You've given me a wife here. Okay, thank you.
We're dealing with the same simp shit that got us into this place, in this situation in the first place. Women choose where the society goes, because a man is going to do anything that he has to do to get a woman. So if a woman has low standards, I have a friend right now. Her name is Cherish. She's black, very pretty. She's over standing in front of a liquor store right now with a bunch of drunk dudes, winos, because she's trying to pursue some white guy who's like 60 years old and is a drug addict, but she likes him for one reason or another, and she wants to be with him. So she's over there hanging out in front of the liquor store with a bunch of drug addicts and winos, right? Women set the standards. The Bible said a man is going to leave his father and mother and cling to his wife. That means he's going to leave what he know and go for something that he desires even more so than the protection of his family, of his mom and his daddy. Why?
All guys are
Because
simple.
men are wired. This is why in the wild, peacocks have feathers. This is why in the wild, lions have big manes. All that stuff is designed to attract females. It's ladies' choice. Whichever one they think is the best, that's the one who's going to get the right to reproduce going forward. None of y'all can argue that. It's the same way in human society. If a woman say all the men got to have nice clothes and cars, Dynast, what we going to go out and break our neck to get?
Them cars.
They say,
Because
they
if
say
it's
you
up
need
to
a
men,
Jerry curl, you're gonna get a
listen,
Jerry curl.
if it's up to men, all we need is some wings and put the game on. We'll sit around in our drawers eating wings and watching basketball and shit all the time. But why do we get up and do what we do? We get up and do what we do to make ourselves more appealing and more acceptable to women. The breakdown in
That's
the
why
black
dudes join gangs because they want to impress the girl.
listen, this is the problem. Let me get to that, Colin. Women have lowered their standards down so low by sleeping and giving preference to Pookie and Ray Ray in degenerate behavior that now you have the men who go out and earn. They say, look, why am I even doing what I'm doing? Because me doing all this is still not getting me the women I want, right? So what men then do is say, I got to go after women who value what I have to offer. In America, that tends to be whites, Mexicans, Asians, women who come from cultures where men are respected and men are looked at as providers. When black women got a hold of welfare and everything else, they stopped looking at the black man as a source of provisions and resources. They just started to go based on what they thought was the most exciting, right? It's no longer about the boring life of being a wife, being married, and raising children. It's now about, ooh, does he excite me? That's why my sisters used to tell me, oh, I like bad boys. They didn't give a damn if the dude could pay rent, buy weed, do anything like that. They cared about the dude who excite them, the dude who living a life of crime, the dude who getting the car shot up while they in the car with them, the dude who they watching them rob people and shit like that. That's what they like, right? But it's always, no matter what you say, it always will be, and it always has been, ladies' choice. That's why you got these simp ass dudes up here simping, because they know if they simp hard enough, the women will then look at them as, yo, he's right. This guy's right. And they feel like that will increase their chances of getting some of that coochie, right? And you see it all the time. That's why you have a simp pandemic, because men will even go against their own best interest to get with a woman. Look at how many animals, look how many male animals give up their life just to reproduce, bro. There are animals that once they get done boning, the female turn around and eat them. But that doesn't stop them from going in and still getting some of that peace leaf, as Greg Adams
Man,
said. Right?
that juice be nice, man. Sometimes you can die coochie.
And look,
hey, Brandon, let me ask you this.
Hold on real quick. You got
Oh,
it.
boy.
And that's what we're doing right now. That's what black men are doing right now. We are sacrificing ourselves going forward to gain the approval of women, because some among us think that is the recipe to get our line to keep going forward into the future. It's not the recipe. None of these dudes will bring their wife up here to confirm nothing they saying. So there's no proof of concept. The difference between you guys and me, I'll bring my wife on this bitch to confirm what I'm saying. Dynast already knows that. That's why all of you guys need to stop talking.
Will she leave you for welfare, though?
I'm gonna let you answer. Stop talking until you can back the shit up what you said. I want a pimp. Listen, a pimp could bring his hoe on this panel and say, baby, tell him I'm the best thing since sliced bread. She gonna be like, yeah, cornbread the best thing since sliced bread. A low down, no good pimp could produce that. All these wise guys, they can't produce that. You know what that means? They're not qualified to teach. They're qualified to shut the hell up and listen. You don't understand women. The women that you can't simp your way into get screwing, they come in with an ownership aspect over your ass. You're submitting to them. So just stop listening to these dudes, because that's why we're going downhill right now. The white man told you all this stuff. This is how you treat your woman. Da-da-da-da. We listened to him. Where did it get us? Nowhere. And now these dudes are doing the same job. Theo, you can ask me if Dynast permits.
Okay, let me ask you two questions. One is, would your wife leave you? Do you fear your wife leaving you for welfare?
I don't fear any woman leaving me.
Yo, that's the dumbest question on earth.
Why is that? Why is that?
Will she leave me because I know I could always go get another one?
Okay, do you feel like your wife, that it's a threat? Welfare is always like lingering there for your wife to leave you for that.
Let me tell you what I know. I'm not going to talk about
Let me answer that question. Do you think your wife would leave you for welfare?
Let me answer the question, bro. I'm not no hoe, so I don't go on no
Building is the best thing since sliced bread.
What I'm gonna tell you is I've literally watched it even within my own family.
Do you think it would happen to you?
Bruh, no, because my family.
Yo, Theo, man, why are you asking the same question?
Because he hasn't answered it.
My family doesn't depend on welfare. My wife is an entrepreneur because I helped her. I started her business. I financed the start of her business.
You answered that question. She wouldn't do it, right? Right.
Well,
and there's plenty of women out there like that. So let me ask you another question. Let me answer your question. Do you think? Hold on. What do you think has empowered women more for independence? Them actually being educated and having jobs, or welfare? Do you feel like there's more single women on welfare or more single women have jobs? Like what has created more economic mobility for women? Welfare. Hold on, man. Welfare. I'm asking Brandon. What has created more economic mobility for women? Welfare or jobs and entrepreneurship?
Yo, let him answer. We heard your question, man.
Listen, hold on, bro. Women do not have independence, and women are not empowered. Women are more dependent.
All I'm saying is,
wait, let me answer the damn question, man.
Go ahead.
Women are more dependent and disempowered than they've ever been, because everything that they've built is built upon a false premise. Women go to school to go work for a man, get sexually harassed, mistreated. Listen, bro, how many women out here talking about how they gave up having a family, gave up reproduction so that they could pursue a career, only to have the career pull the rug from under them? My professor in geography, when I was in college, she used to always give this lecture. I failed one of her classes, so I took it twice. She would always give this lecture to women in our class. She said, don't believe any of this stuff they're telling you. She said, I put my life on hold for 25 years for a job. She said, only to have that job pull the rug from under me and leave me high and dry when I was 50 years old. She said, I went back to school. I got a degree in geography because it was the easiest one to get, she said. And she said, now she makes decent money, only teaching 7 to 10 hours a week. She said, but what she said the only difference was she did in her 50s what she should have did in her 20s. She met a man, she fell in love, and now he taught her about real estate, and they went into the ownership of several properties together, and that was her primary income. And she always, and this was a Hispanic woman, she said, the idea of women's empowerment is a lie. She said the only source of empowerment in America is the family unit.
So first, you started with saying that women decide what happens, which makes them powerful. You ended up with saying women are not empowered. That is just confusing. Can you just shut up, Ayax? What's wrong with you?
The white men, or they slaves to us? That's what's the reality. They either
saying women gonna be slaves one way or the other. Is what you're saying?
Everyone's a slave, bruh. You either gonna slave for yourself.
Got it. So why not be a slave that goes for the higher paycheck? Why would a woman? Wait. No. Why would a woman choose, right? If you only make $30,000 a year, but she can go out and get a job making $100,000, why wouldn't she do that?
Well, tell me what job she could go get making $100,000 a year right now. That
let's say she a hairdresser. She do hair, braid hair.
No hairdresser make no $100,000 a year. That show you ain't got no sense.
You don't think so? She own her own shop. She can't make it happen.
Hey, Brandon.
Hold
Brandon,
on.
I just
gas them up. wait, let me say this. If a hairdresser makes $100,000 a year, within 2 years, she will have to retire because her carpal tunnel will be so damn bad, she will no longer be able to perform that task. I
So
guarantee
you're
you.
saying right now there are no 6-figure earning women right
Bro,
now.
we're not here
Man,
to
Daniel,
entertain
Well,
your
can you
Brandon.
stop?
fantasies, bro.
No,
We're
I'm
here to
just
talk
saying, like
about
you're
Benson,
saying
So
too.
hold on,
Daniel,
Brandon.
It's like you're not making sense when you really like think about it holistically. Like what you're saying just doesn't
shut the fuck up,
make
man. Some
sense
of us,
because you're saying we're all slaves on one hand, right?
Dynasty.
But then you're trying to say that women should
Oh my
box
God.
themselves in, right, to a certain place. Why wouldn't they look out for their best interest? Is all I'm saying. Men do it.
Theo, are you saying
Why
that
Yo,
money
wouldn't
Dynasty.
can?
women do it? And if you
Other
don't
people
face
have a
that
problem to
reality,
make.
you're always
Can you
going to be
stop
a
getting
Hold
slave.
on,
emotional?
Can I ask you a question?
one mic,
Can I ask a question?
One mic. Let Chrissy answer since she's a
Yo,
woman. Go ahead,
Dynasty,
Chrissy.
this guy Theo has
Yeah.
been dominating the mic, man.
My
No, hold
bad.
on. Go ahead, Chrissy. Go ahead, Chrissy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So honestly, there's a few things that you said that have maybe felt a little concerning. One thing I will say is that the families we were talking about, like what's the point of marriage, all that kind of stuff. Families create strong communities. Strong communities create strong nations, right? As Black people in this country, we are the weakest group. All right, we are even weaker than the illegal immigrants. So if anyone needs to be holding on to family as much as possible for dear life, it should be us, right? So everyone talks about Kevin Samuels and all that kind of stuff. It is ironic that Kevin Samuels will talk about dying alone, and he kind of died alone. God rest his soul, right? He died pretty young. He was 53. He didn't look sick. He wasn't overweight. It came out recently he died of hypertension, right? He had all the money, he had the fame, he was Uncle Kev, whatever folks called him. But I'm sure if he had a wife, right, in that home, she would have been saying, babe, go get your checkups. Be on top of him about his health. Be on top of him about the food he's eating. That is the value of the union.
Not necessarily. Some women don't even do that.
Well, most
Here
wives,
this guy
most
go.
wives do that. Most wives
Some
do
women
that.
don't take care
My
of
wife
themselves. So
does. Where your wife at? This
Most
guy don't even
wives-
got a wife.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, yo, hold on. Let Chrissy finish. I want to hear the woman. Let Chrissy finish. Go ahead, Chrissy.
Most wives look out for the best interest of their husbands, because especially Black men are very hard-headed when it comes to going to the doctor. You got a lump, you're limping all over the place, you're waiting to drop dead. I'm not trying to be a widow. Get your behind to the doctors, find out what's going on. I'll make the appointment. All you got to do is roll up at the doctor's. That is, those are the things that are value. I'll give you an example. Recently, my father's 75, remarried. His wife is, well, she's 20 years younger than him, but he looks good. My dad could pass for 50. He looks great. He's strong, all that kind of stuff. But recently he went to the hospital, and my father's not a sickly person. He was there for a week. His wife was there every day in the morning. She's not a woman who take off work. She took off work. She go home, she shower, she sleeps. She's right back there, bringing his food, making sure he's good, on top of the doctors, on top of the nurses. My dad had a roommate in the hospital. Not one soul came to visit that man. So when you talk about all this, not being coupled, that is the end result. Black men, y'all don't take care of yourselves.
some women are cooking the food that are making guys sick. Let's be real.
Black men, and some of them,
and I'm not blaming the women. It's a cultural thing. Let's just be real. It's hard to break that.
But at the same time, that woman's still going to make sure if you're
Can't sugarcoat certain
if you're
things.
limping, she's going to make sure you're getting your annual, get that prostate check, all that kind of stuff, right? His neighbor, I don't know the man's story, but there are men like that who going to end up in the hospital at 60 or 55 by themselves, and there's nobody there. So at the end of the day, family is important. We need to be trying to build families. Sometimes it always don't work out, but then we got to try it again. Money cannot replace what the union replaced. So you talking about, well, the woman, I don't know, no decent woman who's going to choose, oh, I'm going to have a $100K job over having them. I mean, there are women like that, which is kind of crazy, but they regret it.
Yeah, I was about to say, you were just about to contradict yourself.
Chrissy,
No, so that's
hold on, Chrissy. There are whole Facebook groups of, boss B.
Yes.
Girl, get your.
Guess what? It's gonna run out.
Hey, my only problem.
It's sad to be
Theo,
old.
man, God sake, man.
Alone.
Can you have some
It's sad
order?
to be old and vulnerable when you need
Absolutely.
there and there's nobody there. You know what I'm saying? So there are repercussions for the choices that we make. So we got to think family. It's not the
But
money
Chrissy,
and
why should a black man care?
because God put the black man and the black woman together. You are
Okay, let me ask a better question. Why should the black man care for those type of women?
so you don't have
You
to
understand
care.
that, Chrissy?
Right, I understand.
That's the point. So I think the problem of these gender wars is that black men, yeah, we're getting caught up with these women who are not supposed to be thought about. You're supposed to, look, I'll just say these two quick points. First thing is Elon Musk, right? Look, and by the way, Brandon, I don't know if you heard, my lady was on here. She said Fabian is the best thing since sliced bread. She said it twice. So I don't know if you heard it. But my point is Elon Musk is basically practicing polygamy. He got 3 baby mothers with all these kids. You know what I'm saying? And he just said there is no overpopulation issue, right? That's all bogus. I'm not saying that we should all listen to Elon Musk. So you got this white guy who's practicing pretty much polygamy, yet the black man who wants to practice it is called dusty and this and blah, blah, blah. And we're attacked. And like I said, I love African black women. You know what I'm saying? I'm in polygamy with 2 beautiful black women. But I'll say this. All them sisters, right? I don't know if you guys saw that show with Issa Rae, Insecure. I just saw the dude Lawrence. Dinas, I don't know if you noticed, Brandon, I don't know if you noticed. The dude that played Lawrence just got married to a white girl. I believe she's from Italy, or the wedding was in Italy. So all these sisters who were sitting down there gushing over Issa Rae's heartthrob in the show, it just shows that this guy ran and again, not knocking him. That's his choice. That's his choice. I ain't mad at him. But I do think that black men should be with black women, but they should be with black women who want to follow your rules and order. If she don't want to follow you, stop trying to convince her. I think that's my final message. Like, stop trying to convince these women that they should be on your program. Let them follow the government program.
Hey, Dinus, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Dinus,
go ahead.
don't you think?
Go ahead.
Don't you think if someone comes on here giving advice, Dinus, like you're the host. You probably did. I'm pretty sure you've dealt with more women than 2 Niger and Theo combined, right? But
what was my advice then?
Don't you think the people on here, if they give advice, if they talking about all this hypothetical, don't you think they should have some type of proof of concept? I think that's the biggest difference between white folks and us. White folks, before you could jump your ass up there and speak with authority, white folks look at what you've done in that area before they just jump behind you like, oh, do this, do that. Even in the presidency, the president has to be married. In black society, a dude can get up here with no
You're
proof.
just attacking people. You're not addressing any
I'm not
point.
schooling anyone on marriage though,
No,
Brandon.
I am addressing. I'm addressing the main
You're
thing.
not attracting any point. You didn't address
I'm
any one
addressing
thing
the
that I
main
said.
thing. All right, Nigel, where
Not
your
one
wife
thing that I
at?
said.
Hey, come here real quick. Where your wife at, Nigel? My wife is right here.
That's what I'm saying.
Not because you have a
Schooling people
wife,
on
not
marriage,
necessarily
man.
mean you made the correct point. You should have just criticized what
My
I
wife
said
is
instead
right
of just
here
attacking me.
what I'm talking about. Where the
Oh
hell
my
is your
God!
wife,
You know,
Nigel? You
can
bring
you
that
just stop
black white woman
it?
online, dude, or shut up.
Come on, man, stop that! Come on, don't be
Look
childish.
like a prison pen pal, probably.
Yeah,
Bring
because
up
you
here.
are the only one that has seen the woman before. Come on, stop it. Stop that. See,
I don't want to hear
you should
you. If you
address
can't
the
do that,
point.
I don't want to hear
Address
you.
the point. Address the point. You never addressed any point.
I'm
You just
addressing the point. Stop giving
No, you
advice
didn't.
about things you don't know about.
Stop giving advice so I shouldn't say anything. You didn't even hear what you didn't
Yes,
care what I said.
this is one of
Because
those
you think you know
episodes where
about
you should
women
have
more
been in
than
the
I do.
comments.
You don't have a clue. You really don't have a clue. But you
Dinus,
think you know me, but you don't.
wait, tonight, Dinus. When y'all talk about Liberia, do I bring my ass up in this channel?
No.
I don't know shit about Liberia, so I just stay silent on it.
But we're not professing to be experts on marriage, man.
Says I
Nobody.
don't know anything about women. You didn't even address one point. If you were so correct, address any of the point that I said that was wrong. How can you
tonight,
not
I
just
think
You don't make
Obito
any
wants to
points that's
address the
relevant
you
point.
didn't
for the
even
debate,
address
man.
any point that any
Well,
point that I made.
Obito, address
Tunaja,
it.
you don't make any.
Obito,
Okay,
address it
shut up,
quickly, Obito.
Yasu. You just like talking crap. Stop.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Yasu. Get him.
hold on. Pass the black beauty. Black beauty. We couldn't hear
Obento.
you. Well, no, let's do this. Obento. Well, hold on. Sorry, black beauty. Pass the Obento. Obento, they're quiet. Go ahead, Obento. They'll pass you black beauty. They're gonna close out. Go ahead, Obento.
Okay, I just wanted to address one point that Theo made and then finish off. Theo must be the product of like 5 single mother household, man. Because this guy makes no sense in everything he says, and he gets emotional every time someone says something. So what he said was, women are not acting the way because of welfare. Well, welfare encompasses a lot of things. So when women get divorced with their man, the compensation that they get, the divorce court, that's also a form of welfare because you're pretty much taking what is not yours and living with it. Look at countries where divorces are low. You'd find that the divorce laws are extremely harsh or not as liberal as Western countries. That also has an impact. And on top of that, I just wanted to say, it's kind of useless to debate with women online. Because Gastamap, I hope you've been noticing, there's a certain someone in the chat that you and I and even Niger knows, who would never say the stuff she is saying in the chat because her husband will probably drag her by her hijab and throw her to the nearest imam and say divorce 3 times, and he would leave her ass right there. But here she is pumping her chest.
Exactly.
This is why you can never debate people online. It's much better to just debate them face to face, or even not just debate at all. Like, just leave the woman and let her think whatever she thinks. Go to the next. There's like 4 billion. You don't need to be stressed about one woman's opinions. It is what it is. So this idea that women don't need any single man. I'm going to say it. Women don't need any single man. But if man as a whole ever stopped working in this society will collapse within like 30 seconds. So women do need man, but they need a society of man. And the problem with Western society is that there is no cohesion amongst the man and how they deal with women. So there is no standard. So therefore, women get to dictate the terms. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Black
Yeah. See, can I say because I've not had a chance to say anything.
Stop. Let me. I gotta go. Okay, I can't hear you, Jackie. I can't hear you. You're very low. You got to put on your Bluetooth forward. I can't hear you.
Hold on. I wasn't even really saying anything, so you can let
Jackie, we can't hear you, Jackie. Jackie, you got it. You can't hear you. You're very low, Jackie.
She's saying that she wasn't really saying anything, so you can let Tunija talk.
Okay, go ahead, Tunija.
So the point I was making was that if society is misaligned, it can be realigned. And when they asked the question earlier on, everybody said no, everything is gone to pots. Nothing can change again. I heard what Obinto said, which is very interesting because I said there was a time we were having this conversation, and I said that women have the privilege because of what men have done to not need men again. Without the men, that privilege goes away. Suddenly they will need men because the protection that they have from the environment and the society, in this world is because of the men. And if the men disappear, the women will suddenly need this in protection again, and the men will have to come back. So it tells you something about why this is happening. It's men that put it in place, and this is why I made that point in the first place. That in Afghanistan is different. In Saudi Arabia is different. Men set the pace in society. When the men sit here and pretend as if it's women, they should ask themselves seriously what they are thinking, because that is not true. It's the men that are deciding what happens. Maybe in the Western society, yes, African American men don't control the society. Hence, it's the European men that are making the decisions. But when it comes to the continent, if it happens on the continent, the same thing, you have to hold the men accountable, because the men are the ones that decide how the women generally operate in society. So this idea that Brandon started with saying that women can choose whatever they like, then he ended up with saying women don't have the power because they have to go and work for a man, and I don't get that. I really don't get that. And the point I was basically making was that we can change our fate. This stuff is not inevitable. If there are societies that used to be around before, when there was famine, they will increase the age of marriage. When there's bounty, they reduce the age of marriage, because people know how to shape society as they see fit. This is not rocket science. And when they ask people and everybody just says, I throw my hand up, we can't fix the problem. I don't know, man. That's not me.
Okay,
So
go
you do take your own medicine.
Right. Hey, American
I
First Rockman, go ahead. Then we closing out. Go ahead, American First Rockman.
Thanks for having me back on, Dynast, real quick. And pretty much Pan Africanism strikes back. Just he said it the best out of everybody. Look, there's always gonna be black men that are gonna simp like Theo. The main thing is we need to just individually be of a good moral standing and go where we wanted. All this, and I think I don't know if that was Gas 'em Up who said it. Is just like, hey, we need to stop trying to run behind these women and trying to see if they're gonna get on our program. If she's gonna get on it, she's gonna get on it, and if she's not, keep it moving. That's it. Like I said, as a reformed simp, you have to value your time and get with who wants you around. Okay, you're gonna. So that's the thing about it is like, and plus also the main thing is family formation is the most important thing for black people. Okay, there's a reason why we have white women and other races in the West promoting all these other lifestyles besides family formation, because they don't want us to have families. They want us to be separated. They don't want us working together. They want us to be doing all this other stuff that doesn't make black people stronger. So that's the main thing. So everybody, so Theo and everybody's like, oh, girl, go ahead and do your thing, girl. While the black population in the West diminishes
Trying to show you the
year
reality,
over
man.
year. Hold on, Theo. Hold on. You got to simp for about a whole hour, dude. Nobody stops you. So the main thing is we as black Americans cannot afford all these behaviors all these other races get to engage in. And I think I know black folks aren't getting the picture. It's not because at the end of the day, black men want to domineer black women and keep them on in their place and make them submit so I can feel like a bigger man. No, it's because that helps foster cooperation with each other. And the thing about it is, as a black man, whether you're polygamous or have one woman, you still have responsibilities that you have to take care of. So that's what's the most important thing. So if you want a woman to submit, that comes with responsibilities as a man. It's not just because, oh, she's a woman, she needs to submit. No, your ass has to do certain things in order for, or not in order for her to submit. If she submits, you have to do A, B, and C as a man. No negotiation. So, yes, I understand there's these black male weirdos that are talking about submit, but at the end of the day, they have to understand that comes with responsibilities. And if you're not willing to do that responsibility, you don't deserve any woman, you know? And I had to learn that the hard way. So that's it, man. We just need to form black families, and that's how we get wealth, and that's how we get setting up strong structures for our offspring. And that's it. All this, we can just do whatever we want because we're free now and we're in a new millennia and a new time and blah, blah, blah. But while all the elites, I think somebody mentioned Elon Musk, you know, even if there's a white man that's not a billionaire, there's a whole bunch of white people at the top making damn sure they family are together and their daughters, they know who their daughter is marrying and they know the character of the family that their daughter's marrying into. And that's just it. So all this arguing about, oh, black women need to be free or black men are domineering. While we're doing that, the people at the top are forming families and they're not letting their women do whatever the hell they want to do. So that's about all.
Y'all say to get it from. Never mind.
Yeah, please, never mind. Theo.
Hold on,
Okay.
Jackie, you want to say something, Jackie? I can't hear you. Like it's real low, Jackie.
Yeah, I think
There you
the
go.
one thing I want to say is, oh my God, and you be blowing up my government, and there's so many people on here who I do not want them to know my government. But I will say that I think, like I said earlier, there's nothing to it but to do it. Just take a risk. It's really not that hard. I mean, what made me come here was more, it wasn't really about finding a person. It was more so about my lineage and learning Alsa and being able to communicate and eventually, you know, having the knowledge that I need as an African woman, repatriating the continent. But I think that, you know, a lot has happened since COVID. I find that a lot of us are just, you know, we're in this circular loop. I think somebody else said that earlier. We really just need to get focused. If a family is your mission, then go have a family. If getting married is your mission, then go get married. If losing weight is your mission, then go lose weight. If being more beautiful is your mission, then go take care of your skin, your hair, your nails. If getting some abs is your mission, then go see Dynas and let him train you. I mean, I don't really know, like, why is it so difficult for us? It's actually embarrassing, man. It really is, because when you look around at other people's communities, I grew up in New York. A lot of my friends are other races. And when you look around, it's just really sad. It's really sad to see us being the last people standing at the club. It's really, even though I like the club, I do like the club, but it really is sad. Like, we just need to focus and create an environment. And I think that American First Rifleman, what you were saying, essentially is create a nest. You create a nest, a woman will come and nest. It's really not that difficult. And she will submit and she will get on your program if you've got a program to get on. So that's really my comment.
There we go. Hey,
Good
everyone,
job,
thank
sister.
you
Thank you.
everyone,
Amen,
thank you so much
Francis.
for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.